Demand. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We're starting Unit 2 of Supply and Demand. What about supply? I don't care about that. I just care about demand. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. Who knows what these are for? What is demand? Demand is the quantity of goods a consumer is willing and able to purchase at various prices, whether or not that's a Fortnite skin or that really delicious looking donut. Demand means you are able. So to have demand, you must have the ability to buy it. You may want a palace, that one looks pretty nice, but you don't have the demand for it because you are not able to buy it. Willing, I know, it looks pretty good. To have demand, you must want to buy it, like this ugly Christmas sweater vest. You must want to buy it, but I do not want to buy it, so it does not have demand. The law of demand. As prices increase, the quantity demanded decrease. So if you look, you should see increase in their dollar amount, decrease in the amount of pizza that we want. As prices decrease, the quantity demanded increases. Isn't that just logical, right? So as prices go down, the amount that I want of it is going to increase. There's an inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. So the more expensive something is, the less I want it. The less expensive something is, the more I want it. So price up, quantity down, price down, quantity up. I want you to think of the demand curve D going down. If you look and you see going down, sloping downward. This is going to be really important for you to remember, especially next week when we start going over supply. Why is demand sloping downward in the first place? Amy, that's a great question. It's because of income effect, substitution effect, and the law of diminishing marginal utility. What's income effect? When prices rise, a consumer is less able to purchase something. The opposite is true. So price goes up, quantity demanded goes down. Price goes down, quantity demanded goes up. Right? Like if suddenly this became the $2 menu, what would I expect quantity demanded to become? That's right. I would think that quantity demanded goes down. What's the substitution effect? How does it affect the demand curve? If there's a substitute for a good, you will be less willing and able to buy the good if the substitute good is cheaper. If suddenly Pepsi goes on sale and it's half as much as Coke, the likelihood of me buying Coke is very low. Here's the thing. I'm never going to buy Pepsi. I'm always going to buy Coke, even if it's 5 times as expensive. That's right. I'm a Coke person. Marginal utility. So utility means usefulness. So how can you utilize it? What is its usefulness? So marginal utility is the usefulness of one additional unit. So I have a paper clip, and now I have 2 paper clips. What is the marginal utility of that one additional paper clip? Well, if I just have 2 things to clip together, probably low. So the satisfaction we get from consuming an additional unit of a product. Sometimes, if I have 1 piece of pizza, that's not enough. If I have another piece of pizza, maybe that is enough. But maybe by the time I get to my 3rd piece of pizza, I've had too much pizza. So law of diminishing marginal utility is as follows. satisfaction decreases as consumption of a particular good increases. So now I'm up to half a pizza. The amount of enjoyment I'm getting out of that pizza, or the amount of usefulness I'm getting out of that pizza, goes down each time I consume or I purchase another. So Homer might have one donut, that's good. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, the law of diminishing marginal utility means that satisfaction is going to decrease the more you consume of it. All right, demand schedule. So we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Quantity demanded is as follows. So if the particular good is $2, then I'm going to want to get 5 of it. But as you see, that the more expensive it becomes, the less I want it goes down. Here's my graph. I see 2, 4, 6, 8 going up the y-axis, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 along the x-axis. And remember, my slope is going downward. So the point A at $8, the quantity demanded is, do you see it? Yes, 2 of that good is demanded. Demand, price changes. So a change in price means movement along the demand curve. So the price was at $8 and now the price is at $6, so quantity demanded increases. All right, here's some things you should know by this point. What's demand? What is the law of demand? What 3 things cause demand to have a downward slope? What is the law of diminishing marginal utility? What is the income effect? So if you think of these things and you don't know what they are, go back and reread through your notes. Pause the video and go back and reread through your notes at this time. What is the substitution effect? On a graph, how do we show change in quantity demanded due to a change in price? So go ahead and make sure you know the answer to all of these things. All right, changes in quantity demanded review questions. Here you go. Number 1, the price of a latte at Starbucks is raised from $4 to $8. Will that cause an increase or a decrease in the quantity demanded and why? Take your time, answer the question. Number 2, movie tickets at Edwards Cinema were $11 last week. Today, they lowered the price of tickets to $5.50. Will that cause an increase or a decrease in quantity demanded and why? Go ahead and answer that question. Okay, so let's review those questions. First one, price of a latte goes from $4 to $8. Will that cause an increase or a decrease in quantity demanded and why? Well, obviously that's going to cause a quantity demanded to decrease because price is doubled. Remember, the law of demand says that as price increases, quantity demanded decreases. And movie tickets at Edwards Cinema were $11 last week. Today, they're lowered the price of a ticket to $5.50. Will that cause an increase or a decrease in quantity demanded? Obviously, that's going to cause an increase in quantity demanded. How come? Well, again, the law says that as price goes down, quantity demanded goes up. Shifts in demand. Shifts in demand. Shifts in demand. I'm not addicted. You are addicted to Chipotle. Okay. So what is demand? The amount of something that you want. What's the law of demand? As price goes down, demanded quantity goes up. As price goes up, the quantity demanded goes down. What makes demand have a downward slope? We'll get back to that in a minute. The demand curve. Remember, it's sloping down. It's because there's an inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. Price goes up, quantity demanded goes down. Price goes down, quantity demanded increases. Change in quantity demanded. Change in price causes a change in the quantity demanded. This is illustrated by moving from one point to another on the demand curve. Increase in demand means people are willing and able to buy more of a good at every price level. Decrease in demand, people are willing and able to buy less of a good at every price level. And this is illustrated by shifting an entire demand curve. So not just moving along the curve, along a point in the curve, but shifting the entire curve itself. So increase in demand shifts in the demand curve to the right. So if there's more demand, you're going to see that we're going to have a new curve, and we're going to call it D2. Decrease is going to shift it. Decrease shifts it to the left. So you're going to see my arrows pointing to the left, and there we go. There's my curve. Well, why do we have shifts in the demand curve anyway? Well, it's because of these things called determinants. First is income, tastes and preferences, substitute goods, weather. That's right, the weather can be a determinant of demand. Complementary goods, number of buyers, and expectations. So you first have to understand inferior and normal goods. Now, we're not trying to insult anybody, but there's a difference here. So for inferior goods, you're going to have demand decreases when income increases. Demand increases when income decreases. So let's say I go from living with my parents in high school and they pay for all my meals. I don't need to have an inferior good like ramen. But when I move out of the house and I'm going to college, my income radically decreases, which means for an inferior good, demand is going to increase. Versus normal goods, demand increases when income increases. Demand decreases when income decreases. Like steak and lobster, surf and turf, right? That's going to cost a lot more money than a cup of noodles. Taste and preferences. So demand increases and decreases with change in taste and preferences, right? Back in the day, Beanie Babies were where it was all about. So were records, troll dolls, random feel issues that somehow are back in. Fads cause change in demand. Remember the fidget spinner? Advertising influences consumer taste as well. Price of substitute good. So if the price of one good increases, the quantity demanded decreases. Demand for its substitute increases. The price of a good decreases, the demand of the quantity increases. Demand for a substitute then is going to decrease. So let's say I want to get some oven meat, deli meat, and I can get Oscar Mayer or Hillshire Farm. Well, if one of these is twice as expensive as the other, then I'm going to buy the other one that costs me half as much. This is a substitute good, a like for a like. Let's look at price of substitute goods a different way. So the price of Coca-Cola increases. Therefore, the quantity demanded of Coca-Cola decreases, which means the demand for a substitute good, like Pepsi, would increase. However, if the price of a good decreases, quantity demanded increases, and the demand then for a substitute decreases. Price of complementary goods. If the price of one good increases, the quantity demanded decreases. Demand for its complement also decreases. We're going to go over some examples. If the price of a good decreases, the quantity demanded increases. Demand for its complement also increases. Peanut butter and jelly. So if peanut butter goes on sale, that means jelly is also, its demand is also going to increase because price of its complementary good then decreased. Bagels and cream cheese, another complementary good to one another. So let's look at the price of complementary goods like this. the price of a good is going to increase. So peanut butter's price goes up, meaning the quantity of peanut butter demanded decreases. It also means the demand for a complementary good decreases, so the demand for jelly is going to go down as well. However, if the price of a good decreases, so bagels just went on sale, that means the quantity of bagels demanded is going to increase, which also means the demand for complementary goods like cream cheese would also increase. All right, number of buyers. You have an increase in the number of buyers, increases demand. A decrease in the number of buyers decreases demand. Expectations. So expectations for future income. Demand increases with expected increase in income. If I know that I'm going to get a $5,000 raise come April 1st, that is an extra $5,000 I am anticipating coming to my income. That is going to increase what I expect I can earn. However, demand decreases with expected decrease in income. I know I have to buy a new car soon. I know that's going to cost me a lot of money, and that's going to decrease my income. So expectations for future prices. If you expect prices to increase in the future, demand increases now. If I think a TV is going to cost me twice as much in November than it is right now, then I'm going to go ahead and purchase that TV now. However, if you expect prices to decrease in the future, demand decreases now. I'm not going to buy a TV now. I'm going to wait till Black Friday and it goes on sale for half off. Expectations for what product will do for you. So, if the product will be good for you, demand increases. If the product will be bad for you, demand decreases. Next, moving on to elasticity of demand. So, elastic or elasticity is how much something can stretch. So, I want you to think of this rubber band ball. Elasticity means responsiveness. So how responsive? When I pull the rubber band apart, it is responding to me pulling it apart. So the elasticity of demand. How responsive the change in quantity demanded is when there is change in price. So you have the percent change in quantity demanded divided by the percent change in price. Significant change in quantity demanded with change in price. That's what you're going to see with elastic demand. When elasticity is less than 1, price is going to go up and quantity demanded is going to go down. Price may go down, which means quantity demanded increases. So the E in elastic demand. Do you see how the curve is not so upright and so down? It's more like flat. That's what we're talking about with elasticity. It's sleepy. It's laying down. Inelastic demand, however, means minimal change in quantity demanded with change in price. So when elasticity is greater than 1, you see price increases, quantity demanded decreases. Like price decreases, quantity demanded increases. And if you see, it's almost vertical like an I. So inelastic, I want you to think of I. Looks like an I. Unitary elastic. So percent change in quantity demanded equals the percent change in price. Elasticity equals 1. Woo! Well, that's it. I hope that went well for you and that you learned a lot about demand. It's going to make a little bit more sense when we start putting it all together. Good luck and make sure to ask questions.